Okay. I'm sorry, Margaret. Now, I didn't mean to steal your thunder. Hi, dear. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. You can hear me now?
I hear you perfectly. Thank you. We'll all hooked up now.
All right. Well, so my question is that, so I've been doing the Finders course, which I believe you're familiar with because
yes. Yeah.
Dr. Terry mentioned.
I've been working with them for a long time. Yeah.
Thank you. And so, while I haven't reached anything in the course, obviously I've been trying the different meditations, and I'm at this point of life where I am open to any suggestion.
Oh, very good.
Anything you might say that would be at all helpful.
Okay, so you're open. So let me ask you this. One of the problems that is very common in people at the place where you are is that what they're trying to do is they're actually trying to figure this out.
Yes.
And, okay, so what I would tell you is if you're trying to figure this out, don't stop, because you will never, ever, I get emails where I just need one little piece left. Well, there's 2 million or whatever seekers out there that just need that one little piece. That's what I can offer, is that one little piece, and a lot more. But I usually start out with that little piece. So everybody notice exactly where you are. Margaret, are you willing to allow things that are you open to me shattering any beliefs that you have?
Yes.
Okay.
Anything.
Okay.
So, I'm at the end of my rope. Anything.
Okay. So I'm going to talk to you just a little bit. We're going to go back and forth. I'm going to ask you a few questions.
Yes.
If you hear me go, no, stop, whatever, what I'm talking to is ego.
Yes.
Just so you know, I can't even see a Margaret. So there's no possibility of me talking to one. Yes. What I can see is myself, and I'll be talking to myself when I say that. And it'll be only for the purpose of helping you get where you want to go. Okay. It won't be, so don't take offense.
Nope.
Okay. So right now, if you had to prove to me, if you were in a courtroom and I was the judge and you were representing yourself, you're a lawyer representing yourself. So, and you had to actually prove to me that there really is a Margaret. Tell me how you'd do that.
I would say that I feel myself, so it feels
you feel
like
yourself. Well, this is, you have to prove it. I can't feel you, dear. I can see you, but I can't feel you. So
okay,
that's not gonna, that won't fly. We need to be convinced. We need evidence.
Then I would say, well, there's somebody standing in front of you. So
well, that's only proves that there's a body. Is not proving. We're not here to check and see if you have a body. We're here to check and see if there's really a Margaret here.
Then I would say that, what would I say? I would say that I'm experiencing life, so there has to be a me present to experience.
So are you sure of that? You told me you're absolutely open, and now this is going to tell whether you are or not.
I'm sure that I'm having an experience. And so
when you say, I'm sure I'm having an experience, tell me who that I is that you're referring to.
Well, it's got a label that was given called Margaret.
No, I don't think that has a label at all. The body was named Margaret. Because look at this. Just check to see if I'm right here.
Yes.
When you first came out of the birth canal.
Yes.
And the doctor picked you up, lifted you up, and handed the little fetus, you're still hooked up, to the attending nurse so the doctor could cut and clamp the umbilical cord. That sound right?
Yes.
What do you think the odds are that at that moment he looked around the room and he said, "Hey, everybody, look, it's Margaret"?
Not much.
Just didn't happen, did it?
No.
And I think that one of the reasons that he didn't say that is he couldn't see a Margaret.
That's true.
All he could see was a baby.
Yes.
He could see a human body.
Yes.
So there's a human body here, but everything else is just like aftermarket.
Yes.
Yes. So there's a body here. I can tell that, at least within our relative world, there's a body here, because
Yes.
I can see that, because I can see that I'm inhabiting that body over there.
Yes.
So let me mute everybody. Margaret, you'll have to unmute again, because I just muted everybody given the fact that we had background noise. So,
Okay.
So Margaret, say something now so we get the screen back to you right now.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay, there we go. Thank you very much. Okay, so we were talking about that there's a body here.
Yes.
Yes, so we can all see a body. If you walked into a courtroom and said, Your Honor, I'm supposed to prove to you that there's a body in the room, I don't think you'd have to go any further. I think we'd all see it.
Yes. Yes.
But I think the reason the doctor didn't say, look, everybody, it's Margaret, is because the doctor actually couldn't see a Margaret.
Yes.
Isn't that right?
Yes.
He could see what he could really see. You tell me if I'm wrong, but what he could really see was, just using a weight out of the air, 7 pound, 2 ounce unit. Is that right?
Yes.
So he's looking at a 7 pound, 2 inch unit. Right. And when now that the umbilical cord is cut or whatever, is there a Margaret in that room?
There's a consciousness that comes with the body.
Oh, there's a consciousness in the room.
So that consciousness has continued, even though the body has changed. That's saying
right. So do you feel like that consciousness is named Margaret? Is that what
yeah, okay. So within this unit, this consciousness is named.
Now, are you okay? I'm not going to argue that, but tell me, that consciousness that's in the unit, does it stop at the edge of that body?
No, it doesn't.
I've heard everything is made out of consciousness. Have you ever heard that?
Yes, and when we were doing that exercise and I was feeling me, it didn't stop at the end of the body.
That's exactly right. Perfect. Thank you. So that's what I'm out to discover here. That's our goal, is to find out what that is, because whatever it is, what I want you to notice is that if I were to ask you this question, just bluntly, straight on. So we've just had an objective look at birth. Would you agree? Yes. So from this objective perspective, which you and I can agree on, and I think everybody else in the room, I've never had anyone disagree with that. So it's an objective look at birth. So given this objective look at birth, I would like for you to tell me right now, which arrived on our planet first, that body or Margaret?
Well, Margaret, because the name didn't come.
Margaret, or are you sure? I asked you which came here first, which arrived first.
And are we talking about the consciousness or the
name? Oh, no. We're talking about Margaret. I don't know about this consciousness thing. We'll discuss that later. But right now, we're still looking for Margaret.
Same time.
Is that right? Why couldn't the doctor see a Margaret?
Because he's not noticing the inner life inside the...
Oh, I think he is. I mean, I think he can see that there's aliveness there. It's wiggling. Okay. But he's just not, when he looks at that, if somebody asked me, what have you got over there? So he'd say a wiggly baby. He wouldn't say a wiggly Margaret, would he?
No.
No, he wouldn't.
No, he wouldn't.
No. So which got here first? The wiggly baby or a wiggly Margaret? Is there a wiggly Margaret? What's arrived on our planet at that moment?
The answer to your question is Margaret came after the baby, but I'm feeling...
But see, the but is what's been screwing you up for all these years.
Okay.
What if you didn't but that statement and you just repeated for yourself, for your own sake, what you just told me, which is true?
Yes, that Margaret came after the baby.
Yeah, which means this may seem like nothing, but it's really very important.
Yes.
Because what we can see now is that whatever that body is,
Yes.
it's not a Margaret because it got here first.
Yes.
Ooh. So let's go back to your evidence table. Now, how are you going to prove to me that there's a Margaret? You're not going to be able to point to that body. You're not going to be able to point to husband, because that's the body's husband. It's the, you can't point to children, it's the body's children. If you point toward a diploma, that's the body went to college.
Well, I'm going to say the life that lives in, that inhabits this body is Margaret.
So that's what you're going to say. Now, are you going to stick with that? Because what if I were to tell you that's absolutely not true? Would you believe me at all?
In my mind, I know there's only one consciousness.
Okay.
I know this.
So in your mind, which is separate from consciousness, is that correct?
No.
Okay, so in your mind, you know that there's only one consciousness. Where's your mind?
Well, it's in everything.
Oh, so it, but
actually, yes, I've cancelled my argument, haven't I? Yes.
Canceled your argument. Yeah.
Yes, it's not within the space, it's actually in all space.
Yeah, it actually, when you were talking about the consciousness thing and the internal life and all that, can you tell me, can you find the dividing line between that living presence and space?
No.
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 So what if you actually, what you've heard, I bet, that, you know, they told me when I was coming along, they used to say, you know, Fred, the truth is that you're the awake space or the aware space or the peaceful space or all this kind of stuff. The living aliveness, your oneness, all of these things. So where are you not? I mean, how many things do you think there are when we talk about oneness?
Well, there's only oneness.
Oh, there's only oneness.
So everything's within it, if you know what I mean.
I do know.
Me and I'm you, and everything is
right. I understand what you mean very well. So I don't think you do yet, but I do.
No.
So let's look. So everything, there's only one thing going on. Is that right?
Yes.
And that's actually the core belief of all forms of non-duality. So it's just one thing going on. I don't care if you're a Sufi or a Zen master or an Advaita teacher. The essential teaching, or, you know, Jesus, I and the Father are one. It doesn't sound like he was counting two there.
Right. No.
Referring to one, right? So the teachings all refer to when you get right down to the nub, even if we don't understand it because we don't understand a culture or something, they're all talking about oneness. Would you agree?
Yes. Yes.
And that's what actually, and now let's look at our teachers, the teachers of this. I mean, I don't know that I have a lineage, but if I did, it would be with Nisargadatta and Ramana Maharshi and stuff like this. And wasn't Ramana's message also, they would ask him, and, you know, wasn't his message also oneness?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you and I would have to say right now that we're a pair of non-dualists, don't you think? Be hard for us to declare that we're not a pair of non-dualists.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So as a pair of non-dualists, we're looking at this question. We know what the teachers have said. We know what the teachings have said, the scripture and all of that. And given that there's only one thing going on, is there any way that you can report to me that you're not it?
No.
You have to be it, don't you?
Yes, my first response was to say part of it, but that's
I mean,
not
you said,
possible.
yeah,
It has to
right,
be it.
right.
Has to
Yeah.
be it.
What part of oneness? I mean, it's just wholeness, right?
Yes.
I don't
yes,
know about parts of wholeness. Now, I do
Yes.
know
Yes.
about appearances within wholeness.
Yes.
You and I don't look the same.
Yes.
I wouldn't even marry Betsy if we looked the same, right? So there are lots of different appearances.
Yes.
But, you know, like this is a silver ring. And if I had I do have a silver necklace on. And if I took my silver ring and my silver necklace and I melted them down, then actually I could probably come up with a third silver bracelet, right?
Right.
Right. So the appearance of the silver would have changed, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Would it still be the same silver?
Same silver. Yes.
So what we're seeing here, I just want you to notice, because this is what probably many people in the room are confused about, is that what we're talking, when we speak of oneness, we're not talking about sameness.
Yes.
We're talking
Yes.
about oneness.
Yes.
So this space that you and I have been talking about, okay?
Yes.
What I want you to do right now is you just notice the space all around you, the space that's behind everything and above everything and below everything and surrounding everything and in front of everything. You see this, you're just noticing the space?
Yes.
Okay, so right now what I want you to do is I want you to turn all of that space into a solid.
Into a solid.
Mm-hmm. Now tell me how many spaces you count.
There's just one space.
One space. And I have a lot of people who are looking for oneness.
That's great.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Where's the awareness? You know, even you've been like, you came here in the hopes that I could, you know, hook you up with higher awareness or whatever, right? So my question is, what connections do you think, how many connections do you think oneness has?
How many connections?
Yeah.
Well, everything is within oneness, so I don't know.
So no connections, would that be fair? You seem to be floundering around about, but that seems to be where you're headed.
Yes.
It doesn't have any connections, does it?
Because everything's in it, so.
Everything's already in it, and which includes that unit and this one.
Yes.
So there's no doubt, there actually can be no doubt that this is oneness talking to oneness, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, tell me, my dear oneness, tell me what it is that we're talking about. Oneness.
Just what is.
I see. So this is oneness talking to oneness about oneness, which is what is.
Yes.
Oh, you mean this what is?
Just the way it is.
Just the way it is. Right. Okay, perfect. So
yes.
What I want you to notice is that this is not Margaret noticing this, is it?
My first response is it is.
When you say my first response, who's talking to me?
Me, Margaret. But then
no, wait a minute. You just got through telling me there was no Margaret. So there's no possibility that a Margaret didn't. Yeah. This is the reason I told you about the back and forth, and don't take offense because I just jump at you because that's
it's an automatic to almost have separation, to do an instant separation. I can see now that yes, but there's no, it's just business.
There's no separation, is there?
No.
Listen to the sage, everybody. Listen to the sage. See?
Yes.
Now you're the sage.
Okay.
But I'm not talking to Margaret, am I?
No.
Tell me, how tall is Margaret?
Well, there's so many levels to that.
Well, just tell me how tall Margaret is. That's a simple question.
Okay, well, the Margaret with the body.
if I were to
Okay,
talk about
no
the body, I'll call on
There's
it.
no height. There's no height.
There's no height to Margaret.
No,
How much does Margaret weigh?
there's no.
Nothing. And how much volume do you think that Margaret takes up?
None.
None. Well, let me tell you, I mean, I'm in the South and I'm an old man, but where I come from, we call something that has no height, no weight, and no volume, we call that an idea.
Okay.
So something has had an idea that it was that unit, didn't it?
Yes.
And only that unit.
Yes.
Yes, and that's not a correct view, is it?
No.
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 Are you other than the awakeness that you discovered?
No.
No, there's no line, there's no separation at all. So you have to be it, don't you?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, you have to be it. Now, let me ask you a few questions. And when we talk about it, I mean, there's just one of you, right?
There's only one.
There's only one, exactly. So now I want you to tell me oneness. I'll just refer to you as oneness for a little while, if you don't mind, because if the shoe fits, darling, wear it. So,
Yes.
so oneness, is there anything above you?
No.
Oneness, is there anything below you?
No.
Oneness, is there anything to the left of you? Or the
No.
right of you? No. So, and there's no oneness, nothing else in front or behind you, is there?
No.
There's just oneness and only oneness. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so oneness, let me ask you a quick question. Oneness, I just love you, but have you been waiting for another oneness to show up?
Hell knows what. I don't know what I've been waiting for.
You've been
but
waiting for another oneness, because you and I, you see that we're the same thing, correct?
Yes.
Yes, exactly. Different appearances, but the same thing.
Yes.
So what we're talking about is oneness, and the oneness that we're talking about really has to be this oneness, doesn't it?
There's only the one.
So the truth is that you were waiting for a different oneness, because it never occurred to you, and it didn't occur to me until awakening occurred. It never occurred to you and I, geniuses that we are, spiritual, elevated folks that we are. It never even occurred to us one time that oneness looks like this.
This. Oh. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. But now oneness, just because that seems kind of tricky, maybe Fred's tricking me, I want you to check that. So given that when last time I checked on oneness, there was just one of them, is that right?
Yes.
So given that there's oneness and only oneness, this is verified by your own experience right now.
Yes.
So tell me, is there any way that this cannot be oneness?
No, there's
no.
only one. Yes, but that's it.
So when that body went looking for oneness, that was actually oneness looking for oneness, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes. And where is the one? What's the one place that, what's
it's
the
already here?
It's already here. Oh, beautiful, yes. Dear. Perfect.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Oh, this is going to make me famous on YouTube, dear. You too.
Oh, so, wow.
The funny thing is that we've been taught in non-duality and every other school that awakening is the hard part. That's the thing that we're taught. That's the thing. It may take you several lives to do this. Or they'll tell you, well, you need to sit for 30 years in order to get this thing. Or you need to quit smoking, quit drinking, quit screwing around, quit everything. To get pure. You need to, you need to pray. You need to bow. You need to scrape. You need to, and own and own and own and own. Let me ask you, I'm not saying that meditation and all those things can't have an indirect bearing on this, But none of those things have a direct connection to awakening, do they?
No, all the doing that I've been doing.
No,
Yes.
this is the way you do it. And that's
Yes.
what I discovered 12 years ago.
Yes.
I discovered that 12 years ago. And so that's when I woke up 15 years ago, but I discovered this about 12 years ago. It was, I say I discovered it, but there's no one here to have discovered it.
Right.
Because you can see there's no Fred.
There just isness. It's just
There's
what
just
it is.
isness. That's exactly right. And so you can probably see very easily, you should be able to see very easily, there's no teacher here, is there?
It's just a label.
It's just a label. It's just a label, but there's actually no separate teacher that's teaching us about non-duality, is there?
No.
And therein lies the rub. Think about how many teachers have been trying to teach that unit or the character, Margaret character, how to wake up.
Yes.
Can't happen, can it?
Well, they do say that meditation makes you more lucky in waking up.
I'm not saying that doesn't have an indirect relationship. Let me ask you, you were talking to me for about 15 minutes before you woke up. You've been talking to me for a while since.
Yes.
15 minutes shorter than 30 years?
No.
Excuse me. Whoa, you're talking to me. You're talking from awakeness, and you're absolutely
yes. There's no. There's only now.
There's no time.
There's no time. There's only now. So it makes no difference.
Margaret, you can't experience time, can you?
Now when I'm talking.
Well, then when you're talking as anything else, you're lying.
Well, it's made up.
It's made up. That's what I want to say. You don't mean the harsh thing of lying, but that's all relativity, and that's all well and good. Part of clearing is learning to use everyday, ordinary language without believing it.
Yes. Because there's only now. There's nothing else. Yeah.
When I went for a lung test a couple of days ago, and during it, the nurse really pressed me on what it is I do for a living. I tried not to tell her for quite a while because I don't really like to go out over that, especially in South Carolina. And she wasn't paying me, so no obligation. And I told her, and I finally got it down. I said, well, okay. I said, I guess what you could say is sort of what I teach is sort of about, acceptance and gratitude. And she said, oh, people staying in the now. And I said, yeah. And she said, well, people have trouble staying in the now because there really is no separate now, is there? When she said that, I like to fell out that booth. And what she did not, she was not a truly awakened being. But man, she was right on the edge of it. We talked about it for the rest of the time that I was there. It was just stunning, because in the absence of a Margaret or Fred, time cannot be experienced.
Correct.
And so let me ask you this: in the absence of a Margaret, because there isn't one here, and here's the shocking part: do you notice that there never was one here?
All I notice is what's now. I don't even know.
Right. Right. There's no Margaret, and there never was a Margaret.
Right.
So let me ask you this. So the philosophers and theologians have been fighting for, or discussing back and forth for thousands of years. They've been saying, so we have free will or we don't have free will. That's been the argument they just have had all along, isn't it?
Yes.
Do we have free will or do we not have free will? I have a different question, which you will understand perfectly right now. Margaret, who in the hell are they talking about?
All there is just.
It's a question.
How could it's not even a.
It's not even that I get it. It's just not worth even pursuing, is it?
No.
No. See, this is true. This is the truth coming home to roost right here, right now. It's trained this thing to help it. You get that?
Yes.
I've woken up a couple of thousand people, I would imagine. I don't know what the numbers are, but they're high. And even a blind squirrel can find a nut once, from time to time. And it still can take me a while, but you promised me at the beginning that you were ready and you were open and you were really ready to revoke your old ideas. Because the problem is that everybody comes to me, and actually most people that come to me wake up, but a very high percentage. But when we start out, where they're starting out is they're looking to add enlightenment to Fred or Margaret's bag of tricks.
And I've done that.
Yes, of course. Well, I did too, but only for 24 years.
A lot longer in my case.
Yeah, right. Well, nobody's going to accuse me of being a quick study, so you can be at home here. This was a long-term seeker.
Yes.
And my only hope, it really, I'm not going to live long enough for this body to have been awake longer than it was asleep, I don't think, but unless I live over 100, and I don't expect that. I don't even want that. So when we look at things, when you look at the world, can you find anything wrong?
It's not possible.
It's not possible. Thank you, dear. Listen to the sage. Listen to your own mouth. You're now telling the truth that satsangs some teachers have been trying to tell you about. The problem is, do you notice that whatever it is that you are, it's actually prior to language, isn't it?
Well, yes, because language is within it. So yes.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
So do you notice that talking about awakening or talking about enlightenment is never going to get the point across, is it?
No, it's pointers. It's always
pointers. And the point, and what do we do? Here's the most famous pointer of all, probably. You are not the body. So when I hear that, here's what I heard for 53 years or whatever it is, 52, I don't know, a lot of years. What I heard when I said that, because I heard that the first time and I thought, wow, that's just crazy. And then as I hung around non-duality, well, maybe it's not crazy, it's just weird. And then as I hung around non-duality and read books and all this, I came to believe, okay, well, that's right. There really is just one thing. There's just one thing. And, but I wanted to see that one thing objectively. I wanted to see it over there, didn't I? Didn't you? I want to bump into oneness.
Yes, it was trying to add something to the Margaret character.
Trying to add, and awakening is not a process of addition, is it?
No. No,
it's a process of subtraction, is it not?
It's just making all the divisions one. Once you see that everything is within it, there's just no separation.
Correct. And you can see that with the clarity that you have right now. And I'm going to advise you, keep coming to satsang. I'm not trying to threaten you, but I am going to tell you that this thing can be very fleeting, and it is for most people. Follow up on it. I have a class, or I have a room full of people who can tell you that they got this thing and they kept coming back and they kept following up on it. See, this thing is too damn simple, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. The human mind, they don't want all that simple stuff.
Yeah.
What the human mind wants is something complex, something to really gnaw on. Let's debate this. Do you see where it's all nonsense?
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. There's just you and only you, isn't there, dear?
There's only the one.
Only the one.
So I can't even use the word you. It's like.
Yeah, well, I know it's hard to wear it.
Yes.
But if you don't, you're likely to wear Margaret.
Yes. Yes.
So come to recognize that when I say oneness, come to recognize I'm talking about you. Yes. I'm also talking about this. But I'm
Yes.
also talking about everybody in this room and everybody on the planet,
Yes.
and my dogs and the trees in my yard.
Yes.
Yes. Just one thing. And we just say, and I can promise you, I have woken up physicists with the math of one. The math of one, which you already see. The math of one says that 1 equals 1, which seems to be the most obvious thing in the world. But we can't see it until we can. And you could have gone forever doing it, or it seems like you could have, but you couldn't because you came here.
Yes.
That's the way it works. See, what were the odds that you and I were going to have this discussion at the beginning of this free satsang? We ever met each other?
Oh, so.
No. So well, then, what were the odds that you and I were to meet here at the beginning of this satsang, so YouTubers and everybody else can see how awakening really works? Well, they were 100%, dear.
Oh,
Weren't
it's amazing, really.
It is amazing. Yeah.
It's simple.
It's simple. It's so simple, and everybody made it so complex, and they've added it on with robes and funny hats and different exercises and all this, and all that may is charming. Listen, I love mysticism as well as anybody. This house looks like a mystical museum. I've got there's probably 50 statues of Buddha and everybody, and Jesus and the Roman gods and the Hindu gods, and everybody, Zen masters, of everybody in this house. And it has nothing to do with what we're doing here, does it?
No.
No, it's just the way we decorate.
Yes.
Because that makes us, that gives us a, it does lend itself to having to notice that everybody's pointing out this simple truth. Everybody's pointing out this simple truth. And there's nothing simpler than me looking at it. All I have to do is look at it.
Yes.
I've got clients who tell me, that actually that the moment that we start satsang, there's a change, or particularly one-on-one meetings, but satsang too. The moment we start, there's a change. Because why? Because they're not looking at a Fred Davis. There's no Fred Davis to applaud here, or to, or to put on a pedestal. What the only reason that the teaching is effective here is that the Fred Davis never was here, and what is left is very, very ordinary. Has to be, doesn't it?
Yes.
There's nothing special.
No.
There's a book out there, non-dual book, it's called Nothing Special.
Yes.
Nirmala was a big teacher when I came along. And I think he's still teaching, for parts I know. He's older than I am, I think, but it may not be. He may be younger than I am, I don't know. But he's, the last time I heard, he was still teaching, and he was very nice to me and his wife too. So there's, when we heard teachers telling us to just surrender to this, wasn't the problem was that we didn't understand that they were saying that they were talking about this?
Right now, I don't even understand that term, surrender.
Oh yeah, right. There's right. Because there's no one to surrender, is there?
Yeah, I mean, I would have understood you better.
Yeah. No, I completely get it. You're pure, and that's perfect. You're not even understanding. That's the best answer you could have given me. So see if you can follow this. This is what I think now. This is what I teach now. There's no one here to surrender. So all of this surrender stuff that we've gotten all our whole life, it's bunk.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that there's not an attempt to get the ego down and all of that. Some of that may be helped, but ultimately ego cannot wake up the ego.
Because it has nothing.
It has nothing to do with it.
No.
Millions of people out there right now trying to wake up their ego with their ego. And they got some, and sometimes they go to a meeting and there may be an ego teaching them.
Yeah.
Because that ego is trying to teach these other unfortunate egos that just don't be able to seem to get this, how to realize. What do you have to do to reach spiritual realization?
I don't know, get out of the way.
Get out of the way. Get out of the way.
Just get out of the way.
Just notice it. That
Yeah, it's an undoing. I think that's probably the best.
Non-doing. That's it. There's nothing to do. Realization is not about doing anything. It's about noticing what is.
Yes.
And while you're noticing what is, let me ask you just a couple of questions and then we'll call this quits and I'll go to somebody else. But this has been helpful to everybody in the room. I happen to know that. So that's the reason I don't mind going on and on with you, because there's no you there, and there's nothing I like better than talking to myself. You know, unless it's waking myself up. You get that?
Yes.
So I can't remember what I was going to say now. It's fine. The words are failing me. That tells me that we're done.
Thank you. I do want to ask you, are you making this recording available? Because
It's going to be on YouTube.
Thank you. I just recognize the fragility of this and I understand what
Yes,
you're saying.
yes. It'll be very helpful to others, but it'll be
everything.
particularly helpful to you, won't it?
Thank you so much. Oh my God. Thank you. I cannot. Thank you.
You are welcome. Thank you, love. We done good.